Hey guys, it's Generalkidd here. How's everyone doing today? So, for today's video, we are going to be taking a look at the secret Escort Banshee in Halo 1, or rather Halo Combat Evolved. So, this Escort Banshee, it's actually more like a secret variant of the regular Banshee, but Halo 1 didn't have vehicle variants, so each variant is like a special vehicle. So, this variant of the Banshee, or this version of the Banshee, is technically hidden in plain sight, even though it's secret and, technically hidden in the game files. And most people probably never would have noticed the difference. But thanks to Pinyap in my Discord server, he actually pointed this out to me, and I finally realized why these Banshees are the way they are. So in a video I uploaded a while ago about 10 things you never noticed in Halo 1, I said these Banshees were odd in that when you flew them and you fly in the cutscene, during the cutscene they make a weird sound. That is, they had the sound of a pelican. And at the time I didn't understand why. But as it turns out, that's because these are not normal Banshees. Even though you could get into it just like a Banshee, it says it's a Banshee and you can fly around in it like a Banshee, it's actually not a Banshee that we know of, or that we're used to. So what exactly is this Banshee then? Well, it's technically a cut Banshee, or more like a sort of like a beta version of the Banshee, but it's actually still in the game, and it's actually still used. So, in the game files, it's called an Old Playback Banshee. That's what it's literally called. But I believe the official name of it at the time was called an Escort Banshee. At least that's what I've been told. But basically, this Banshee, at first glance, it may look like a regular Banshee, but there's actually quite a few differences with it. So first of all, it's really fast. Hence why I guess the Escort Banshee name, or it's more like an Interceptor Banshee in some ways as well. But yeah, it's a really fast Banshee, and visually there actually are some differences, but I'll cover that in a second. First, let me let you guys listen to the sound of it, so you guys can realize what we're talking about. If that sounds familiar to you, that's because, like I said earlier in the video, it is a pelican sound. It's the exact same sound effect that a pelican uses, and I'll prove it to you guys again. Alright, so there you guys have it. Like I said, they are basically the exact same sound effect. Which implies that the Banshee at one point earlier in development was, using the pelican sound effect, meaning that the pelican sound effect is the original Banshee sound effect, and I guess it was later changed to apply to the pelican. At least that's my guess. I can't confirm that with any certainty, but that just seems like what it is. But I'll cover like the whole beta Banshee thing in a bit as well. First, I do want to point out the visual differences between this Banshee and the actual final version. So if you look at the wing tips, you may have noticed that when you accelerate they glow orange for a little bit, and then when you decelerate they change colors, and there's no light flares on them. Well, that's basically the biggest difference visually. In the final Banshee, when you fly, the tips glow a lot more. Like they have like lights at both ends of it, not just a little slight orange glow when you accelerate and then back to blue when you decelerate. So that is pretty much the major difference there, and it applies in anniversary graphics too, surprisingly. Sometimes a lot of things that show up in classic graphics for like cut stuff don't apply to anniversary, but in this case it does. And the lights at the tip of the wings of the Banshee don't show up in anniversary graphics for this Escort or Old Playback Banshee. And in other campaign missions, the regular Banshee, they all show up just fine. They're all the same and perfectly consistent. Even in multiplayer, the Banshee is consistent with the one in campaign. So that Escort Banshee is indeed very unique. Now, like I said earlier, it is kind of like a cut beta Banshee. That is because it is very similar to the one from the GameStock 2001 demo footage. This footage is of a pretty early pre-release version of Halo 1. I don't remember exactly how early it was, but you could tell that there's quite a few differences between this and the final game. Namely, there was no usable Banshee on the Silent Cartographer mission. But anyways, this Banshee, you know, it's like a beta version from the earlier build, and you can tell it has a lot of similarities with the Escort Banshee in the final game. Namely, the way it maneuvers. You know, it's like really fast compared to a regular Banshee, and it can maneuver and turn pretty quickly. And when you accelerate, there's like orange lights at the tips, but there's no, you know, light flares or anything. So that's how we know it's basically the same Banshee. Now, there are a few differences, like the cockpit is closed when you're flying, and obviously the model is a lot more detailed than the one from the original build, but it's mostly the same as the one from the GameStop demo footage. So it's that's why I've been told it's kind of like a cut beta Banshee that's still somewhat used in the final game. The only thing is, you know, even though it's used in the final game, you only really use it for like a couple seconds, and then the cutscene kicks in. Sometimes the cutscene is kicking right away on the end of the mission keys, and you can, you know, fly around for like a few more seconds, but overall, you might not really notice the difference in the first place. But, you know, if the game is running a little bit slow and you do get a few seconds to fly around, then you probably might have noticed that it's a lot faster. It has different sound effects. So this is a Banshee you can try out in the full game without needing a mod or anything. But in the full game, without mods, you'd only have like a few seconds to play around with it and check it out. But it is a different and unique Banshee, and it's one that I never noticed was different in the first place, aside from the sound effect. So it turns out it was just a cut beta Banshee that was only used for that one very brief segment of the mission. So you could say it's technically not cut from the final game, but it's really not used anywhere else, and it has a really, you know, odd name to it as well. But there you guys have it. That is the Old Playback or Escort Banshee, hidden in Halo 1, hidden in plain view. Hopefully you guys did enjoy this video and found it to be interesting. If you did, as always, make sure to leave a like. Leave your thoughts in the comments, anything else you want me to check out or look into, just let me know. But other than that, make sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you all next time. Bye guys!